Monday, my broskies. Hello. Hello. Hello, everybody. I've got orange juice. I have eaten a bagel, and my stomach is not yet acted out. Hi, Raven, how we doing? Hello. And hi, Emerald. Hello. It is Monday. Yeah. I like Mondays. I'm still, like, sitting here, because I recently had this bagel with cream cheese, and I'm like, stomach, you usually let me know when it's time. But we're gonna see. We're gonna see how we go about things. Heckin' grinding away at Shadow. Oh, Shadowbringer's post. Hell yeah. Getting super scared. Oh, no worries. You'll be fine. Alrighty. Let us just get right into the swing of things. Last week we were playing Radical Dreamers, but then I was stupid and I never saved, and I learned the hard way that was not a good idea, because we had to go through everything again. But here we are now with our now saved files. So we're just gonna put this over here. Alrighty. We're gonna continue where we left off, which was here. I quietly eased open the lid of the coffer and slipped out. Can't leave you anywhere, can I muttered to myself. I knew Kid could handle herself, but I didn't fancy her odds against a whole group of heavily armed goblins. For a moment I wasn't sure what to do, but then I made up my mind. I have to save Kid. Right, I had to save Kid. There was no way I was going to abandon a friend in need. Even if it meant facing off against a group of 5 goblin guards, That was a loud car. Even if it meant facing off against a group of 5 goblin guards, I'd find a way to come out on top. I hoped. I drew the knife from my belt and leapt into the middle of the room. Hey, snot for brainses! Over here! The goblins all turned to look at me at the same time. 10 beady, cruel little eyes all staring daggers at me. Fool! In a hurry to die, are we? I gulped and wondered if making a run for it might have been a better plan of action after all. Humans are so stupid. The goblin captain chuckled and licked his teeth. Yep, this one's got a death wish, alright. Why else would he be so stupid as to come after Lord Lynx's treasure? Ha, that's a first. Being called dumb by a bloody goblin. Try acting tough when you're crying for your mum later on. Judging by Kid's response, she wasn't feeling massively threatened. And you tell her it was Kid who knocked your teeth in. So you're a kid, are you? The sneaky little, slippery little thief we've heard about so much? The goblin narrowed his eyes. I'm gonna cough instead of laugh. Lord Lynx will be thanking me from now until my retirement when I bring your head on a silver platter. The goblin pulled his morning star from his waist and started swinging. You don't know who you're messing with. We ain't no ordinary goblin, sweetheart. We're Lord Lynx's elite guard. Blah, I can't read. The goblins that gobble other goblins. That's right, the Gob Squad. Alrighty. Glorious Globstra. Okay, so we've gone through the motions of the battle. So, dodge. Bombs away. I jumped up for a counterattack. Roll away. Ready to parry. Oof. Okay. Attack that. Jumped up for a counter. see. A blazing pain seared through my mind and I fell on my knees. Gob strike incoming. Dodge the attack. How does a human know a spell like that? Who are you? The goblin was quickly silenced as the rushing winds tore through it, and it collapsed to the floor with a final shriek. Magil looked down on his victim, his expression unchanged. Long live Lord Lynx, glory to the Gob Squad. With these final words, the goblin collapsed. That was the last of them. We made it. Piece of cake, said Kid, putting a brave face on things as she wiped the sweat from her brow with her arm. She then stopped and looked at me. Sedge, what were you thinking, you great Drogo? Getting the goblins to come after you like that. You really didn't have to, you know. Kid gazed softly at me, her blue eyes like a cool glow of the moon. She seemed to be trembling slightly. She looked at the ground, hiding her face. Thanks. I'll never forget what happened tonight. Even if we go our separate ways, even if we never meet again. Never. Seems Lynx has got the better of us. He turned to Magil. What do you mean, asked Kid. We nailed the frozen flame, didn't we? Not quite. It was a fake. Bait, to be precise. The red jewel in Magil's hand suddenly splintered and fell to pieces with a shattering sound. God, that rat bastard! Of course he wouldn't do this fair and square. Fair and square? Strange words coming from Kid. It seems that our quest for the frozen flame continues. Yeah, but before we get back to it, this bunch of Dragos said they're Lynx's elite guard, right? Bet they have some nice loot on them. With that, she started unceremoniously rummaging through the fallen captain's pockets. It was like a hyena sniffing for scraps. Hello, hello, what's this? She found an odd metal plate. It resembled an open hand and was covered in runes. Reckon this might open some other magic door somewhere. We'll never know what happened when it might come in handy. Either way, finders keepers. The plate vanished into Kid's pocket. Looks like there's nothing else worth taking, unless you count pocket lint and bits of string. She rose to her feet and looked around the room. You know, it's a real shame to leave the rest of all this loot just sitting around unloved. Suppose we come back for it whenever? Kid turned to face us and flashed a grin. Alright, lads, get a move on. It ain't gonna be dark forever. That hand-shaped plate is our only clue for now, muttered Magil, seemingly to himself. We left the vault, resuming our quest for the frozen flame. Okay. The corridor stretched the room off to the left and right. We've got through this, so let's just give it a quick save. The path to the right led to the terrace, the left staircase going upward. Let's go back to the face of truth.
Lynn believes.
Hi, Lynn! How you doing? The door continued.
So far, so good.
Yeah. This is, what does this lead to? Went inside? In we go. Was this I think this is the clock tower. Yeah, it is the clock tower. Any little old ladies? No. Okay, that was the clock tower. Okay, we beat the goblins and we got something from them, so I think this might be for the left to the terrace, right down the corridor. Leading the group as usual, Kid suddenly stopped. What's that? She jabbed her finger at something in the darkness. Straining my eyes, I could see a pale, white bundle of something shaking in the shadows. Crawling across the floor at unbelievable speed. I think that's a skeleton? Yeah, skeleton. What was I gonna do? Retreat. Thanks, Madge. I mumbled in a daze, sitting awkwardly on the floor after losing my footing. Eat this. Kid's foot slammed into the skeleton after a sweeping attack left it wide open. There was a crunching sound and a clattering of bones. The skeleton was knocked back by the blow. Its body split clean in two at the waist. Wow, I can't fucking read. Better luck next time, muttered Kid dryly. As if in response, the skeleton's upper body picked itself up from the ground, turning its skull towards me. Balancing its body with its left hand, it then pulled the skull from its head with its right. What's it doing now? Before I could get the words out, it heaved its skull at me. If she's behind me, catch it. I caught it in both hands and flung it back and slammed it onto the floor. Smash the piece with satisfying crunch. Yeah. Time to move on. Alrighty. I was starting to feel a little worse for wear. I was going to have to be more careful from now on, or this was going to end badly. Not bad, Sid. Not bad at all. Didn't know you had it in you. There was a mischievous glint in Kid's eyes. She rewarded me with a few words of praise. Alrighty, a little further. What's this one? We went, continued on. Back down the stairs. I think this is the... Down the stairs. This place gives you the crib. Three of us turned away, back down the stairs. Yeah. Went down the stairs, go straight ahead, went straight out the door on our right. We have the time that comes before else. Yeah, I know. Okay, so this is the... Oh god. Where the hell is... Continued on. Kept following the corridor. Toward the study. Toward the main hall. Toward the study. That was the study. We turned back, we went inside. We went back. Order branch, right branch, back to the terrace. Down the stair. Okay, maybe down the stairs? Where the hell was it? Okay. We went toward the atrium on the left. There we go. Yeah, Beardy. Here we go. Do I have to? Probably as well. Alrighty. First off, I need to heal. So I'm going to take some of those dried grapes. Munch, munch. It actually ate them. I think I can I keep eating them? Yeah, I think this is like the only way you can actually heal yourself. Alrighty. Let me take one more. Alrighty, so we've got that weird hand-shaped mirror. I took the hand-shaped plate metal we'd found. After taking another look at the runes, I was no closer to working out what they might mean. Here goes nothing. I stuck the plate into the mouth of the truth's marble maw. As soon as I did, its eyes rolled upwards and the wall gave a light judder. A low rumbling sound came from the sculpture's mouth. This, indeed, is the ultimate truth of the universe. Did you hear something? Yeah. I watched the mouth of truth in confusion. Its great marble tongue rolled out, almost like a snake. It coiled around the plate, seizing it and pulling it deep inside. What's going on? In a panic, I looked to Magiel for answers. It seems this ineffable truth of the universe has left even the mouth of truth tongue-tied. Magiel answered in his usual deadpan manner. I think he might have even been trying to make a joke. Hang on, so that plate thingy revealed the truth of the universe? And you went and crammed it down Beardy's gullet? Do you realize how much we could have sold that for? Kid kicked the floor in frustration and snapped her fingers. And then, drains on all sides of the room suddenly opened wide. The red water formed eddies as it sank away. Helpless, the pteranodons were washed away with the current. Soon only trickles of water were left, slowly trickled away. Well, that's a stroke of luck, ain't it? Guess we won't be sleeping with the fishes tonight, grinned Kid, looking at the empty pool. We crossed the drained room, making for the exit on the other side, and pressed on. We went through the atrium and looked down the corridor before finding ourselves at a fork in the road. The corridor stretched off to the left and right. Okay, so left, let's go right. Right is always right. We continued down the dark, dank corridor until some stairs leading downward finally came to view. Let's go down the stairs. Slowly, we crept down the staircase, descending deeper into the shadows as we went. At the bottom, we found ourselves at a large intersection. The dim, narrow passageway branched left and right. We followed the corridor for a while before coming across a small door. Get a whiff of that. Something smells good, whispered Kid, sniffing the air. Well, let's go inside. We opened the door. Blimey, this is a small kitchen. Must be for the servants, commented Magiel. I scanned our surroundings. A basin for washing dishes, cooking utensils, some food made ready for tomorrow, and a mousetrap. It looked like any other commoner's kitchen. Kid walked over to a large pot filled with food and peered inside. Looks like tomorrow's lunch. Want to try some, Serge? I respectfully declined. I was feeling hungry. Timidly, I peered into the pot. It looked like stew, and it didn't smell bad at all. Almost inviting. I scooped some up with a ladle and brought it to my mouth. Gulp. It was delicious. It was revolting. This stuff's delicious. You should grab a bowl, Kid, I urged between bites. Kid was looking at me again, staring at me intently. In fact, like she was searching for something. We ain't going green or nothing. Guess it's safe. All right, let's have a try. She licked her lips with anticipation and swiped my spoon right out of my hand. Fancy a taste, Madge? No. Kid grabbed a bowl from nearby and began spooning out more. I did the same. We ate our fill. The stew was warm, and it felt as though the magic of fresh home cooking was easing my wounds somewhat. Suddenly, a little voice rang out. You there, the young man with the braid. Kid froze. Oi, who you calling a bloke? Kid barked angrily at the direction the voice was coming from. A mouse was looking at us with eyes like saucers from inside the mousetrap hanging from the wall in the corner of the room. Oh, I am sorry. You're a young lady, I see. The mouse bowed its head in apology. Please, kind young lady, you must hear me out. The mouse put its paws together and stared pleadingly at Kid. I left the nest to find food for my mother, but as you can see, I managed to get myself caught in a trap. If you leave me here, I will surely be eaten by goblins. Kid eyed the little creature suspiciously. Eaten by goblins? Wait, that's stew. Putting two together, Kid ran for the sink. I beg of you, please free me from this trap. My mother is sick, and she is terribly worried about what has become of me. The mouse was clearly begging for its life, but there was also an odd little glint in its eye. Meanwhile, Kid was at the sink. Dwarfed. Ugh, I'm never gonna get that taste out of my mouth. I'll be buggered if I'm hanging around here any longer. Kid had returned from the sink, only to stamp off towards the door. She was looking very green around the gills. Kindly young lady, I don't suppose you could free me first? You got yourself into this mess. You can sort it out yourself. Kid all but spat in the ground as she left the room. The mouse's eyes welled up as it looked to me. Young man, please, you're my only hope. Okay, aw man. I left the mouse to its fate. I freed the mouse. I'm gonna free the mouse. Gah, fine. Unable to bear it at me standing anymore with those pleading eyes, I lifted the cage and opened the door. The mouse bounded happily out from inside. And the mouse gave a wicked chuckle. You poor naive fool. Suddenly, its body began to balloon massively in size. Oi, Sedge, what are you doing in? Kid stopped in horror the moment she opened the door. Bugga me! A griffin! The enormous creature stared balefully down at us. Idiot humans. My mother is not sick, but yours will be when she sees what I've done to you. Good going, Serge. You're a bloody liability, you are. Oof, okay, maybe I made a mistake, but she didn't have to rub it in like that. The griffin gave an almighty cry and leapt right at us. Its razor-sharp talons sliced through the air, raking down towards me. I jumped to duck. The blow never came, and the griffin suddenly lost its balance and came crashing to the ground. Oh, bother. I'm too hungry to even fight properly. What on earth? I breathed a sigh of relief, running a hand down my chest. All right, little mouse. Now it's time for the real show to begin. Kid walked up to the griffin, cracking her knuckles. Gulp. But please, kindly young lady, this is all a misunderstanding. A terrible misunderstanding. Panicked, the creature leapt to its feet. You can't kill me. I have useful information. If you let me go, I promise I'll tell you everything I know. Everything. Yeah, I know how much a promise from the likes of you is worth. Kid took another step toward the griffin, not skipping a beat. Roark, please! Kid kept on coming. The griffin kept on shrinking away. Enough. Maggio called for Kid to stop. Let's hear it. Oh, thank you, kind sir. The griffin was beside itself with relief. Huh, spoil my fun, why don't ya? Grumbled Kid, pouting as she turned away. Listen well, oh merciful savior. Right thrice, left twice, right twice. Should you find yourself trapped in one of Link's swirling snares, remember my words. So right 3, left 2, right 2. So 2, 2, 2. No, 3, 2, 2. All right. With that, the griffin returned to its mouse-like form and disappeared into a small hole in the wall. Trapped in Link's snares? Ha! As if I'd be thick enough to walk into one of his traps. Let's get out of here. We've wasted enough time already. Kid turned her heel and made for the door. We left the kitchen. Leaving the room behind us, we took a right down toward the corridor. We followed it for a while before coming to an intersection. The way to the left ended with a staircase going up. The corridor also directed ahead, but the way was completely shrouded in darkness. We left toward the stairs going up. Climbed the narrow staircase. As we reached the top, we found ourselves at the end of a long straight corridor. We continued on. Fork in the path. The left would take us to the atrium with the fountain. The corridor also continued directly ahead, but the way was completely enshrouded in darkness. Let's go back to the atrium. An exit leading to Link's and Riddle's rooms gaped ominously from across. Okay, let's continue on. Rattle. Kid stopped us. There's something there. Rattle, rattle, rattle. Is it another skeleton? Yeah. Assess situation. I was simply bewitched. There was no way he'd use any of this instinct. Alrighty, we have defeated the skeleton. Sweet. Can't believe this Drago, though. Thwack. She brought her fist down hard on his head. Maybe that'll wake you up. Now, if we're done here, let's get a bloody move on. I was doing great. I felt like nothing could stop me. Maybe I ain't such a Drago after all. Just goes to show any weirdo can make something of themselves if they put their mind to it. Okay, let's go up the stairs. Main hall. Is there anything in the main hall now? Just looked that way because of the flickering light of the candles was reflected off the glossy oil paints. I mean, that could totally happen, right? Definitely. Okay, maybe. Ugly mugs. Okay. No, nothing new here. Side passage toward the study. Down the stairs. Okay, let's go toward the study. No, turn back. Okay. And then like a thick haze floated in the air in front of me, and then like someone blowing smoke into a person-shaped bottle. A ghost. Slip past the ghost. Complete the spectral embrace. The core of the ghost, where its face seemed to be. I oozed through it like the tunnel stuck in goo. Yet, God, that was disgusting. More disgusting than anything I'd ever known. It was impossibly cold. It felt like it was draining all the heat right out of my blood, like it was draining my life force, in fact. I struggled to break free, but could find no purchase in the gooey ectoplasm. A piercing chill came. Okay. I vaguely make out Kid Imagine with the ghost body. Pretty bad for me. Surge, when I say kid, what are the first words that come to mind? Asked Maggio. I suddenly snapped out of the haze. The bane of my existence. What? Left from the town square. I answered, giving directions to laughing. Oh fuck, so cold. More hazy. I wonder how things are back home. Oh fuck. Surge, what would a washerwoman wish for? This kid, 14. You bloody. I thank you not going conning me undies, you filthy perv. Then I'll thank you to stop making me wash them every week. Maybe when we got a mess, she should do her own laundry for once. I don't even know what cold meant anymore. I vaguely make out Kid Imagine with the ghost body. What did it? Patty. When I say kid, what are the first kids that come to mind? Left from the town square. Matt, what are you? It was no good. I was trying to find out what on earth Magil was on about, but I couldn't even move my mouth to form the words anymore. What would a washer... What the hell? What are you, bloody 4 years old? Kid sighed with disgust. Imagine planning. I hope it would be worth it. Piercing chill. Came all the bitter. I'm so confused. When I say kid, what are the things? The bane of my existence. What? Surged into my words of fire pulled my mind a little bit. Oh. He was using my mind as a conduit to attack the ghost on an astral plane. What the fuck? Okay. You still with us? Someone was slapping me around the face. Someone who seemed to be enjoying it immensely. Kid, stop it, damn you. I leapt to my feet, wide awake from an instant. Madge, did you really have to use me like that? When dealing with foes who attack the mind, it is simplest to lure them in with bait, then use their intended prey's consciousness as a conduit in order to make an assault from the astral plane. A direct magical attack would have met a lengthy battle, a far less elegant solution, he replied, without a trace of guilt. Alright, let's keep moving. Kid gave the order to continue, seemingly completely oblivious to my brush with death. I was starting to feel a little worse. Damn, that fucked me up!
Oof.
Fuck. I just wanted to get, like, back to, like, Riddle and Lynx's room. What the fuck? Passageway to the right. Riddle's room, Lynx's daughter. We went inside. Because I think, depending on when you go, like, something changes, but I don't remember. Okay, yeah, there's nothing here. Sweet. Suddenly, Kid stopped in her tracks. Something's there. Two enormous goblins clinging to the back. It was something, one of those stories, assassins sneaking around old castles. They definitely like goblins to be maybe a touch on the large side. They're a total of 4. Jump back. There we go. Steal its mace. Starting to feel a little worse for wear. Maybe it's such a drongo after all. Alrighty, so let's just go back to the atrium with the fountain. Okay. Went into the atrium. We pressed on. Okay, the griffin said right 3 times, left 2, and then right 2. She drew her knife and stared into the darkness. We heard a clinging of metal, goblin guards. I suggested a tactical retreat. How about a tactical boot up the arse instead? Look, you're never gonna get good at thieving if you keep acting like such a bloody chicken. Having rejected my suggestion, kids seem to take great pleasure in putting the boot in for good measure. They won't know what hit them, she shouted, leaping into battle. Caught on the back foot, I fumbled with my knife. More goblins. 5 of them. Okay. Having been well looked after in this palatial manor, they'd grown to be even bigger than Magiel. Each of them was carrying a manor goblin's trademark, a morning star, rod and heavy, yes. Or is it a flail? Jump back to evade the attack. Stab the goblin to the back of its weapon hand. And then, good hit. Threw my knife to grab the morning star and get behind the goblin. I had to do this with the morning star on its head. Turned around on cue. Oof. The chain was yanked severely, putting me off balance, and I was kicked into the air. It felt as if I was falling forever like an autumn leaf. It wasn't the stone floor that broke my fall, but the embrace of a pair of muscular arms. Get back. Magio dropped me on the floor like a sack of potatoes and advanced on the goblin. It took the mace from its belt and charged toward him, and he lashed out with a kick, sending the mace flying. The creature's features crumpled inward, and its body fell to the floor with a heavy thud. It was all over in a second. You're bloody pathetic, that was Kid. It's no good nabbing a weapon you don't know how to handle, is it? Try using your head for once, will ya? Sometimes I really did despair. I was doing my best just to survive. Would it have hurt her to offer a "you alright, mate" just once in a while? If only to mix things up a bit? I'm a grown man, you know. I have feelings, I said to myself as usual, trying to tell her that for real would have been a swift route to an early grave and nothing else. Alrighty, the same usual banter. Fork in the road, left and right. So, right. Down the stairs. Right toward the kitchen. Okay, so we turn back, so there's no way to continue going. We pressed on. We continued down the corridor until it ended at a large door covered in scratches and other odd marks. Above the door was a wooden plate. It bore the legend "Guard Room" in elaborate calligraphy. Well, guards are one thing we definitely don't need right now. Come on, let's do one. With Kid around, who knew what kind of mess we were about to get into? Maybe, but with Serge around, who knows what kind of traps we were about to walk into? What a trusting relationship we enjoyed. Let us turn back for now. We made our way back through the corridor. Followed it for a while, coming to an intersection. The way to the right ended at a staircase going up. The corridor also continued directly, but the way was completely enshrouded with darkness. Toward the stairs going up. Continued on. Eventually finding a fork in the path. Left to the atrium. Also continue directly ahead. Let's continue on. Rather sturdy old looking door. Bloody marvelous. Another bloody door with a bloody magic barrier on it. Wonder what's inside. Me sixth sense tells me it ain't treasure. I suspect that this is the manor's dungeon. I hear the sound of someone moaning in the darkness on the other side. But there is nothing we can do, and thus it is of little concern to us now. Let's turn back. There's no way of getting through the door. We retraced our steps down the corridor. God fucking damn it. After making our way down the dark corridor, we came to a branch in the path. Right to the atrium. Straight towards down. Okay. Went down the stairs. At the bottom, we found ourselves in another intersection. A dim, narrow passageway. Okay, right towards the kitchen. We didn't go left. Oh, no, we're still here. Listen carefully. It doesn't sound like anyone's in there. We went inside then. Kid opened the door. The room had seemed completely silent from the outside, and so we thought it would be empty. But there inside was a lone goblin. It was sitting in a chair with a book in its hand. A light stream drifted from the teacup on the table in front of it, and with it a delicate aroma. The goblin peered at us curiously over its spectacles. There was something different about this one. I could tell as much at a glance. Heavens! How rare is it to have guests? Heavens! How well spoken for a goblin! I could only feel dread and suspicion at the sight of him nonetheless. Sorry, mate, but we're not your guests. Cough up the key to the dungeon if you want to live. Kid slammed her knife into the table to illustrate her point, but the goblin didn't so much as flinch. Ah. You must be Kid. What a pleasure this is. I have always so wanted to meet you. Why, you're even more ravishing than the rumors would. Before the goblin could finish, Kid's knife flew through the air. With a quick flick of his wrist, the goblin caught the blade with the back of his book, a mere inch from his face. I see that your approach is as radical as the name of your merry band would suggest, the goblin said, pulling the knife free and handing it back to Kid. She took it without a word, but her gaze had changed. She was like a cat, cautiously studying its prey. And I was just getting to the good part, too. Ah well, I suppose I shall have to give up on ever finishing it now. The goblin cautiously flung the book over his shoulder and into a nearby bin. Allow me to introduce myself, if I may. I am Grismeld, and I am the guard on watch. No need to stand. Please do take a seat. You're welcome to tea, of course. The goblin beckoned us to sit down. Did he mean to poison us? If I may. Magiel calmly took a seat, ignoring the obvious suspicion in the air. I sat down next to Magiel. I looked at Kid. I'll sit next to Magiel. I decided to trust Magiel's instincts and took a seat next to him. He had some kind of plan in mind, I was sure of it. Kid didn't look like she'd be pulling up a chair anytime soon. She was standing with her arms crossed, eyeing the goblin suspiciously. The goblin poured 3 cups of tea. Here you are. Without the slightest hint of hesitation, Magiel took his teacup and lifted it to his lips. He sipped, then placed the cup back on its saucer. Hilmylan tea. Not a blend I'd expect to find here. What a pleasure it is to encounter a fellow connoisseur. Yes, it's a rare blend, and one mainly enjoyed by the noble classes. I couldn't believe the conversation I was hearing, but I also couldn't help wondering what this rare tea might taste like. My eyes rested on the cup that had been poured before me. I couldn't shake the fear that it might be poisoned, but I also couldn't ignore how delicious it smelled. Before I knew it, the cup was in my hands. This is great! I never had such a delicious brew in my entire life. My aches and pains faded away. I glanced over at Kid, who was blowing maniacally at the liquid in her cup. I'd forgotten that she was paranoid about burning her mouth on things. Now that we're comfortable, let's get down to brass tacks, as they say. I do indeed have the key to the dungeon, as you surmised, but you will also be aware that I cannot simply give it away. I glanced over to Kid again. Typical, she wasn't listening to a word Grismeld was saying. She was still huffing and puffing at her tea. It seemed it would be up to me to respond. Well, let me fucking save, now that I'm fully healed again. Here's our offer. Give us the key and you get to live. I suppose that means you want something in return. You'd like to know what I want. I want your heads. Grismeld's eye glistened behind his spectacles. Or rather, that's what my employer would have me say. But, oh wow, I actually just took my time and it just went on going. You could have just, like, attacked. Oh wow. But no, I have no such barbarous aspirations. Furthermore, I doubt I'd be a match for you. Grismeld chuckled as he said this. What I live for is the joy of conversation, which I fear my compatriots are ill-equipped to supply. Perhaps you might have 1 or 2 ripping yarns to share. Grinning, he added, I'm sure notorious thieves such as yourselves must have a few more thrilling tales up your sleeves. So he wanted to hear a story. That seemed a more than fair price to pay for the key. I closed my eyes and thought, aha, I know just the story. How did it begin? One night, a young girl was walking alone in the forest, and then she was searching for a golden sunflower, the only way to cure her. She was out hunting for bugs. Then, she walked and walked, but the sunflower was nowhere to be found. She walked and walked, but the sunflower was nowhere to be found. The fragments I remember seemed about right. There was only one way the story could end. I took a breath and began my tale. One night, a young girl was walking alone in the forest. She was searching for a golden sunflower, the only way to cure her sick mother's illness. She walked and walked, but the sunflower was nowhere to be found. And then, in her moment of darkest despair, she saw a brilliant light. It was none other than the golden sunflower she sought. The young girl gracefully pocketed the sunflower seeds. These will surely save my mother, she thought. She rushed home to give them to her, and her dear mother was hale and hearty once more within days. They all lived happily ever after. That was beautiful, murmured Kid, wiping a tear from her eye. Grimsmeld frowned. Not quite what I was expecting, and not the most riveting of tales, but I suppose it will do. The key, as promised. I took it from Grimsmeld's hand. Something didn't seem right, though. Was he really going to give it up so easily? And was it really alright to trust such a strange goblin? Grismeld seemed to notice my suspicion. He leaned back into his chair, looking at the ceiling. When I was a young tyro, a braver, stupider goblin, I once served General Viper, who was the lord of this manor, until he was betrayed by Lord Lynx. Despite my boorishness, Lady Riddle always saw something in me worthy of praise. What? Riddle? What's Lynx's adopted daughter got to do with anything? Oh, you didn't know? Riddle's real father was none other than General Viper himself. What? Lord Lynx spared Lady Riddle's life so as not to snuff out that of the frozen flame. It's an uncanny stone, you see. Has a life of its own, and some kind of spiritual bond with Lady Riddle. If only there was some way I could free milady from this manor. Alas, I alone am powerless to do any such thing. Of course, I would have no qualms if, say, you were to topple the usurper. I assume you intend to. Slay the old beast, I mean. It was a strange inquiry to make so casually. Well, if it comes to it. I was more than a little taken aback by the directness of Grismeld's question. I'd never suspected to find one of Lynx's own guards asking me something like that. Suddenly, I was shoved aside. Not if it comes to it! We're gonna kill him tonight, and kill him good! It was Kid, of course. And, in exchange, I have something more than tea to take with us. I have some more of that tea to take with us. Kid held out her hand before Grismeld could offer an answer. I suppose I have a bag I can share. Grismeld shuffled awkwardly in his seat as he retrieved it. As ever, I was impressed at Kid's uncompromising attitude and willingness to speak her mind. Seemed to always get her what she wanted. Bonzer, sit tight and leave the rest to us, mate. Stowing the bag in her pocket, Kid took the job. You can trust me. I'm a girl of me word. That might have been the biggest lie she'd ever told. Now let's get moving. She made for the door with a spring in her step. We left the room and Grismeld behind. What a nice goblin. We left the room and took the left. We left the room and took left down the corridor.
Has nice hair.
Yeah. We followed it for a while before coming to an intersection. Alright, I gotta get to the dungeon. So, stairs going up. Continued on. Fork in the pathway. Going straight on would lead us toward the cell. Eventually reaching a rather sturdy door. Creepy old goblin should do the trick. Clammy air rose up around our feet, as if crawling blindly through the darkness. This didn't seem like the kind of place anyone in their right mind would visit voluntarily. We pushed the heavy iron door the rest of the way open and stepped into the darkness. There was a row of cells, all locked behind iron bars. 1, 2... Oh, Gulliver, Meghild, Zoradath, forgive me. Please, please forgive me. We heard a voice from the third cell, whimpering and crying pathetically. I strained my eyes to look inside. Faintly in the darkness, I could see something that looked like a man sitting on the floor. So this was the source of the voice. Oi, you alright, mate? Kid called out to the figure. Forgive me. It's all my fault. It's all my fault. The dragoons never deserved this. General, Lady Riddle, oh, forgive me, I beg of you. The old man didn't seem to respond to us at all. He only sat facing the wall, begging forgiveness for who knew what. Hello? Can you hear me? Asked Kid, trying again. There'll be no getting through to him. His real self will have long since retreated inside the shell he has created, said Magiel, cutting her off. Shell? What do you mean? I asked. He has built a shell around the core of his psyche in order to shield himself from the truth. He is running from something. Something terrible. He has seen something, or been through something, or has done something. And so he has created his own world on the inside as a final refuge, the outside world lost to him forevermore. I looked at Magiel in surprise. I had detected a hint of unspoken sadness in his words, and for some reason, he was looking at Kid, watching over her as she stared at the man in the cell. Seeming to notice my gaze, Magiel turned back to face me, assuming his usual emotionless expression once more. We live in a world of sorrow and foolishness. It's only inevitable that some would try to escape it. But despite his hard words, his eyes retained a certain softness, his steely gaze giving way to a gentle light. Do you understand? I think so. Can you be more specific? I'm not quite sure I understand what you mean. Could you explain a little more? I asked him. Of course. You've seen the wrapped state Kid enters before stealing something, I take it? Oh, I'd seen it all right. An image of Kid, hands clutched in front of her heart, twirling stars for pupils, floated immediately into my mind. The item in question may not be hers yet, but in her mind she has already taken possession of it, become possessed by it even. In other words, she has been transported to a place completely outside herself. The man you see before you has been transported to a similar place, albeit a much darker one. It made total sense to me now. I still find it amazing how an example from close to home can explain things so clearly. Madge? You're treading on some very thin ice here. Was he? I mean, he had a point. My musings were cut short by her fist crashing to the side of my head. Don't you even think about agreeing with him, Serge. I could get on her bad side without even opening my mouth. It was almost impressive. We're not going to get much out of him. He's miles away. Let's just leave him be and try someplace else. Kid made for the door of the dungeon. Wait, called Magiel. We must find some way to get this man to speak. What for? I mean, he's speaking already. Just none of it makes sense. What are you after? Some things he said piqued my curiosity. He mentioned the dragoons. And Riddle, too. So? You said the dragoons are ancient history, snapped Kid. Besides, how can we trust anything he says? He's clearly gone off his rocker. He had a point. The old man had since cut his ties to the real world. What did Magiel expect him to say? Without Magiel replied, we simply have to bring him back to reality. And how are we going to do that? You want me to do a little dance for him or something? See if it gets his motor going? Fuck. Hold on. I'm gonna save right here. Please don't. No, please don't do that. The words were out of the mouth before I could stop them. What are you saying? Her eyes narrowed threateningly. You don't think anybody want to see me dance? Is that it? What? No, completely opposite. In fact, actually, ignore me. No, this should be good. Enlighten me, why don't you? He's right, it won't work. And just like that, Kid's fist was flying towards Magiel's face instead of mine. He dodged the blow with ease, and I carried on as if nothing had happened. We must break through the shell he has created and drag him back to the real world. In order to do that, we will need some kind of key. Something that will reach him even through the barrier he has erected. Yeah? And where are we going to find this key? Asked Kid suspiciously. I don't know, came Magiel's simple reply. But there is someone in this manor who can tell us. You don't mean... You're not talking about Riddle, are you? I am, Magiel replied with a nod. Alright, fine. I don't know what the heck you expect her to tell us, though. Kid turned on her heel and made for the door. We left the gibbering old man in the dungeon, alone with his sorrow. I followed Kid and Magiel back into the corridor. After making our way down the corridor, we came down the branch to the path. Alright, now we've got to go get Riddle. So, we're gonna go right toward the atrium. Continued on. I think if we continue, it'll lead us to the rooms. Yes. Alright, we went inside. Knickknacks and curios dotted, seem to be well loved. Occupants. Is someone there? Came the voice of a young woman. We shrank into the shadows. The woman appeared from deeper within the room. She was lightly made up and had a gentle, unthreatening air about her. It was Lynx's daughter. Strange. I'm sure I heard someone. I was at a loss as to what to do for a moment, but before I'd had time to do much more than hold my breath, Kid had already darted over and thrust her knife out, stopping the blade only a hair's breadth from the woman's neck. Where's the frozen flame? Answer me. Her voice came out in a harsh growl. I rushed in to hold Kid back before she hurt the poor woman. Kid, do we really have to do it this way? Shut your trap, Serge. Riddle couldn't help but giggle as she watched us bickering. What are you laughing at? Kid shot Riddle a harsh look. It's just, you don't seem like thieves at all. You want me to cut you, girl? I'd be surprised if that knife could cut anything. For a moment I felt faint, imagining Riddle on the floor, covered in blood. But then, clang. Kid had thrown her knife to the floor, and I saw that it was only a letter opener. Heh, didn't think you'd noticed. Whatever, I'm not here to mess around killing the likes of you anyway. I have no desire for bloodshed either, said Riddle, in a voice that was almost a whisper. I am not your enemy. In fact, I want to help you. There wasn't a hint of hesitation or deception in her voice. Let me guess, you're trapped in the manor too? Riddle only lowered her eyes sadly in response to Kid's question. The frozen flame should never have been allowed to fall into Lynx's hands. Riddle spoke quietly, but deep emotion clearly underpinned her words. The flame was once a property of an ancient kingdom to the north who kept it for generations. It was said to have the uncanny power to guide people and change history itself. After the kingdom fell, the flame changed hands countless times, until eventually it came into my father's possession. That was before I was born. Sometime later, Lynx became aware of the flame's true value and approached my father under false pretense of friendship. Not a soul suspected what his true intentions were. And then on that horrible day, he destroyed everything. He killed everything. Riddle shook her head, then buried her face in her hands. I don't care about the frozen flame. I don't care about that stupid accursed stone. It means nothing to me. I just want to take it away from Lynx and smash it to pieces right in front of him. And only we can make that happen. Riddle looked up with surprise as Magiel spoke. No one else in the world can seize that jewel from Lynx. Riddle stared speechlessly, and then in a low voice she whispered, What can I do to help you? There's a survivor of the Acacia Dragoons in the dungeon we want to help. And if we're to help him, we need your help, said Magiel, taking a step forward. What? That man is a traitor. It's because of him that Zoranda... Please, it's the only way. Riddle turned her back to us and hung her head low. The Chamber of Death. There might be something to bring him back to his senses there. After that, it was there that he chose to abandon his pride, his life. I assume the Chamber of Death must be the cell with the trapped ceiling. Riddle nodded. Yeah, that's gonna be a problem, started Kid. That thing damn near killed us the last time. You need to take the Einlanzer with you. It is a sacred sword said to have been forged by an ancient sage and a sister blade to the crimson-cursed Masamune. The timeless blessing of the Einlanzer will surely keep you safe from the Chamber of Death's wickedness. It used to be a sight to see in the hands of Zoranda. It danced like the wind, shone like the stars, and struck like lightning. Lost again in memories of fonder times, Riddle once more bowed her head. Forgive me, I have little more to tell you. You've told us more than enough. We'll take our leave now, said Magiel, turning and making for the door. I wish I had the strength to change things like you do, whispered Riddle, biting her lip. Kid hesitated for a moment, seemingly deep in thought. It ain't about strength, it's about having a purpose, something to fight for. I'll be praying for you. Kid shot Riddle a look over her shoulder. Great, maybe you can cross your fingers too. We left the room. I need to get the Einlanzer. The passage outside the room continued to our left and right. I'm guessing Lynx's room might have what we're looking for. Let's go inside. If anything, we can ask the mirror. Hey, yo, mirror! You barred into the room. Wait, is Lynx here? I followed her after panicking. I looked around to see no one else but us. Where is he? Kid was just standing there, clearly not in any danger at all. It was a joke, idiot. All the strength drained from my body. I thought I was serious, did you? Chuckled Kid, trying not to laugh too hard. I bet you wish you were living the easy life rather than tripsing around after me, eh? Your face. I ignored her and walked over to the mirror draped with a red silk cloth. Hi there, sorry about all the noise. The statue of Venus in the mirror giggled back at me. That's quite alright, Serge. What is your desire? Came her husky alto. Nothing much, just thought I'd check up on you since I was here. You mustn't say such things, your friends will become envious. She giggled mischievously. You what? Said Kid, her voice completely flat. And why would I be envious? Please, there is no need to get upset. I have a gift for you. Oh yeah? Yes. Well, one might call it that. You see, I thought you might be interested to see what it's like inside the mirror. Wait, so you're inviting us to the realm of mirrors? Kid's interest was suddenly piqued. It won't take up much of your time. Come, Kid. Step inside. The surface of the mirror rippled like water. Kid reached out her hand toward the glass and hesitated. She deliberated for a moment before finally pulling it back. You go first, Serge. You're her favorite. Are you sure? Kid nodded, and, filled with excitement, I pressed my hands to the mirror. The surface was like cool water on my fingertips. No, Serge, you mustn't. Suddenly, cracks formed in the glass. I gasped. What's happening? The statue in the mirror was weeping. I wish you weren't so trusting. You forget that I serve Lynx. What? I blurted out. I meant to trap you and your friends. The cracks in the mirror grew bigger, splintering off into more and smaller cracks. And that is not all. I foresaw your coming long ago and warned Lynx of it. But why? You were imprisoned here by Lynx, weren't you? Sighed Magiel. The statue of Venus nodded mournfully. He sealed the path to mirrors beyond, preventing me from leaving the manor. Were someone to shatter all the mirrors within the manor's walls, I would be doomed. I would vanish, separated from my siblings forever. Eventually, the statue raised its head, but I could not stand to be at his mercy anymore. The cracks deepened further, and shards of glass began to fall to the floor. Stop! I can't let you do this, I yelled, grabbing the mirror frame with both hands. This is what I want. Lynx will not suffer me to live after betraying him, said the image in the mirror, looking at me. But why are you trying to help us? Will that be your final question, Serge? Something in its voice felt like the trace of a smile. Very well. The truth is, But just then, the mirror finally split from top to bottom. The image's lips moved gently, but no words came. I tried to scream, but I could do little more than whisper. I took a shard of glass from the floor and gripped it tightly in my hand. Serge? Behind me, Kid was softly calling my name. I gave a slight nod and slowly turned around. Let's go. As we left the room, I turned to look back at one last time, my eyes coming to rest on the remains of the mirror. I'd never be able to hear her voice again. I turned again and left the room. Okay. I feel like we missed something here. Was I supposed to talk to my mirror friend more? She's dead now. The corridor stretched out beyond the door. We retraced our steps. Where's the Einlanser? I was gonna fucking ask the mirror where it was if it gave me that option. I don't think there's anything here for... I don't think Riddle can tell us anymore. Riddle was sitting on the sofa, gazing wistfully at something in her hands. It was an old, faded photograph. She noticed us looking at her and gently beckoned for us to come over. Something the matter? She asked politely, gesturing at some seats nearby and inviting us to sit down. No, Ta. Huffed blandly, refusing the offer. You must seek out the Einlanzer. Without it, you will never be able to dispel the curse of the Chamber of Death. You don't need to tell me twice. Take care, just before leaving. And she spoke, her back still to the lady of the manor. You're not helping us to make the old man suffer even more, are ya? Who put him in that dungeon in the first place, and why? Riddle looked away and said nothing. Fine, keep your trap shut if you want. Just remember that we ain't here to do your dirty work. And you can think twice before you mess us about. I'm looking out for me and me alone. I know, sighed Riddle, her whispered reply vanishing into the night air. We left her to her worries and returned to the corridor. Man, I lost Mirror Friend. How many more friends am I gonna lose? The passage outside the room continued to the left. Okay, well, is there anything in Lynx's room if I can't talk to my Mirror Friend anymore? Clearly, the mirror had it in for me. There's gotta be something in here. The room was completely silent. I looked at the corner of the room, to the place where she once stood. Madjo put a gentle hand on my shoulder. Surge. I gave a silent nod, and we turned and left it to her eternal rest. The mirror's— I only talked to it once! Why am I treating this like a long-lost friend suddenly died of fucking— What? Okay, that means there's nothing here. Okay, we continued. Let's go upward. Hi, Imposter Dave. We're gonna go into the main hall, and then if not, maybe the study. Main hall of the manor. Let us go inside while I open these cucumber chips. Alrighty. Okay. There's nothing here for us. Toward the study. Let's go someplace else. Okay. Fuck. Okay, let's go back to the chairs. And then okay, Madriel, you're doing well, Surge. You're less green than when we first met. Alright, back in the manor. Okay, we don't have the Einlanzer, so if we go into that dungeon, it's not gonna really do us much good. So maybe it's in the treasure trove. Let's go to the right. In the clock tower. And continued on. No time for baubles. Okay. Oh, they only give you. Okay. Let me just save over this one. Let's go inside. Okay. Alright, we're not going in. Okay. Towards the terrace, we continued on. Follow the corridor. Down the stairs towards the atrium. Trailed off into darkness. Okay, that's Riddle's room. Turn back. Okay, to the atrium. Okay, so the guardhouse might tell us something. I'm pressed on. Towards the stairs going down. Down the stairs. Go back to the guard room. It's got it. He's got to know. Hey, yo, grab me. What's his name? Oh, hello again. Grismeld held a slight bow of welcome. I look forward to hearing the tale of your exploits tonight. Instead of sitting around your ass and waiting to hear, why don't you get out here and make a story couple of your own? Zoran responds with a chuckle with a wary amusement. And with that, we look. God fucking damn it! I gotta find it! Okay, go on to the kitchen. Maybe it's in the kitchen. Towards the stair going up. Toward the cell. Drew my knife and readied myself. Hey, Mithril? Oh, darn. Hello. That wasn't a good fight. Wait a second, what's that? A leather bag. Ooh. Num 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 num. Mm-hmm. Can you feel sensitive was punish himself like that? Come on, make it quick. He won't want us hanging around for long. Damn it. Where's the stairs going down? Down. Hmm. Turn back. Okay, go back to the atrium. Continued on. Towards the stairs, along the path ahead. So we came across an ornate door at the right-hand side. It was Riddle's room. And that takes, if we continue, it leads us to Lynx. She can't help us with the islands there. She doesn't know where it is. And she told us that's where that's what we need. It's not in fucking Lynx's room because we're sad that our mirror wife fucking died. This game makes no sense to me, and yet I'm so intrigued. A scream pierced the term. Ah, fuck. It's the ghost. Oh wait, it was the griffin. Before I drew my weapon, the griffin spirit powerful wings. Oh! Mikarin, thanks for the raid! Welcome! Griffin, its powerful wings swooped toward me, almighty screech. I was blocked back. Why is this the fuck... Grass in pain as the wind knocked me out. Serge, are you okay? Every nerve in my body was screaming in pain. I held back the groans and staggered to my feet. I looked to see the massive griffin in front of me. Its hellish red eyes streaked down its beak. It was going to attack. What could I do? Duck. I ducked the attack. The griffin's talons raked through the air, plunging down towards me. A blast of pain shot through my head. Clutching at the wound, I did my best to regain my footing and turned to face the griffin again. As the beast's mad red eyes glared at me, I desperately tightened my grip on my knife. I attacked. I reversed my grip on my knife and plunged it into the griffin's neck with all my might. The griffin's body contorted with agony. It's going great, Mika. Thanks for the raid. How was your stream? Driven mad with rage, the griffin shook its head this way and that. I quickly pulled my knife out from its neck and rolled away to put some space between us. Get down, Serge, shouted Magil from behind me. Panicked, I dropped to the floor, and not a moment too soon, almost instantly, a blazing fireball sailed right over my head. It crashed into the griffin and exploded into an almighty conflagration. That's a word. Grok. The griffin writhed in the flames, shrieking madly. And then it glared down at my prone body, its eyes filled with primal fury. It was going to attack. What could I do? I jumped back. I moved in close. I jumped back. Almost by reflex, I jumped back. The griffin's talon was soon followed by its head. Ah! A sharp pain ripped through my waist. Clutching my wounded stomach, I did my best to regain my footing and turned back to face the griffin again. There we go. At the beast's mad red eyes glared at me, I desperately tightened my grip on my knife. It then stiffened and suddenly became completely rigid. Its eyes rolled to the back of its head and fell to the ground with an almighty crash. We'd done it. We actually defeated a griffin. I fell to my knees, overwhelmed by what I'd just been through, but glad it was all over. Now I look like shit, and I feel like shit too. Why is there a griffin in the manor? Yeah, thank you. Have a good day. Riddle, I'm dying, please. Tell us where the Einlanser is. Yeah, thank you. Okay. She's not gonna help us. The only other place I haven't checked is the clock tower. Mm-hmm. In we go. There it is. Our ticket to not getting turned to mincemeat. The ancient sword was right where Kid had left it after pulling it from a pile of junk. Looking down at the sword, two ancient blades, the sacred Einlanser and the cursed Masamune. What are you on about, Madge? You know something about this Master Mune? Madjo said nothing. Well, it seemed to mean something to you. It does. Uh-huh. Something to do with old friends I don't know about? Not exactly. An enemy, then? Not exactly. You're being weird, Madge. Well, whatever. Oi, numbnuts! Grab this thing for me, will ya? I was still standing by the doorway when Kid called over to me. Who, me? Yeah, you. Are you gonna make me lug the bloody thing around the place? I'm just a scrawny little girl, aren't I? Call yourself a judge? My jaw dropped. I knew there wasn't anything I could say to her. Silently, I walked over to Kid and picked up the sword like I was told. Whoa, whoa. I nearly fell over. That thing was heavy. Good boy. Right off to the chamber of death. Eyes on the prize, lads. Dragging the sword behind me, I followed Kid out of the room. The door led back to the corridor, which stretched off to the left and right. Depths of the manor. Okay, we want to go down the corridor. Continued on. Alrighty. Going inside. This place is just as creepy as I remember. Lovely. She was looking at the stains on the wall. The ceiling had been pulled back up, but that was no reason to believe it might not come down grinding at any moment. Bearing in mind what Riddle had told us the room was called, it definitely wasn't somewhere we wanted to linger. Quickly, hissed Magiel before crouching down and examining the ground for clues. Kid and I crouched down too. What were we even looking for, though? What could the old man have left in this room that would help us bring him back to reality? The flagstones of the floor were smeared with a black, gooey substance that gave off an odd, rotten aroma. I shook my head, trying to drive an uncomfortable thought from my mind. Kid saw me and clearly wasn't doing much better herself. She slowly turned, positioned herself so that she was facing away from the stains on the wall. There was no point in thinking like that. I just had to try. But then... the door slammed shut and the gears ground into life. Here we bloody go again. We have to stop it. If we don't deal with the trap, we'll never find what we're looking for. The ceiling sank lower and lower. We ducked our heads, desperately trying to avoid the blades that jutted out from the bottom. Kid looked at me and screamed. The sword! You and the Einlanser! What? How do you use a sword? Into Kid, into the ground, into the ceiling. It pinged hard off the countless blades flashing down, throwing me into the floor. Ow. Alright, into the ground. I drove the sword to the floor with all my might. A shock ran through the room. Beams of light scattered from the blade, covering the floor and walls and then racing upward. The ceiling gave an almighty judder and then stopped. We made it. I sank to the floor helplessly, my heart racing. Hey, what's that? Kid was pointing to part of the wall. It was where we'd seen the message written in blood. Guess we found what we're looking for. Part of the wall had collapsed, revealing a cavity behind what had looked like a piece of solid stone. Inside, I could see something faintly glinting in the darkness. Kid reached in with her fingertips, carefully extracting whatever it was from within. It was a slender ring with a delicately engraved design that looked like overlapping— I can't read! Overlapping ferns! The ring was adorned with several small rubies in a pattern that resembled a bunch of grapes. The crest of acacia. This must be an acacia signet. Signet? Kid put the ring in her middle finger, where it sat uneasily. It didn't seem to be her size. The rubies gave off an eerie glint. Right, let's not spend any more time here than we have to. We managed to foil the trap and retrieve the acacian signet. I left the Einslander where it stood, and we exited the room. Went downstairs. Downstairs. Yeah. Continue onward. Continue onward. Follow the corridor. Down the stairs. Toward the atrium. Press on. Toward the dungeon. Right inside. Having retrieved the acacian signet, we returned to the old man's cell. As soon as we got there, Magdo took a step forward and grabbed onto the bars. They creaked and groaned as he heaved at them, gritting his teeth as he summoned every ounce of his strength. Slowly, they bowed apart. He stepped into the cell through the gap, and Kid and I followed. The old man was exactly as we had left him, staring into space and muttering meaningless words. Kid walked over to him and crouched down. Kid grabbed him by the collar and yelled at him, "Wakey, wakey, Grandad! We've got a few questions for you. Here, get an eyeful of this. Ring any bells, huh?" Kid waved the acacian signet in his face, shaking him roughly all the while. The old man's head lolled as he simply allowed himself to be manhandled. I stepped between them and tried to stop her. I tried to get between Kid and the old man. She glared at me. "We're in the way, Serge. We're here for answers, remember? But if you really want to help him, you can't chicken out now. But look at him. There's no helping him anymore. Surely this all ended for him long ago. I would not be so certain. This is not over. It still means something. He has simply decided to pretend not to see it." "Yeah, but it's not over, you say." "It's not over, you say?" Struck by the man's sudden interruption, we all turned to look at him. A faint glimmer of light had returned to his once vacant eyes. "That's right. None of this is over until we make Lynx pay." His eyes began to cloud once more. "So my former allies have finally come for me. I am to blame. It is because of my indiscretion that the frozen flame was stolen, and that of all the Acacian dragoons only I remain here in the manor. But now all is well, for you have returned. Ah, Melgid, Zorinda, where have you been all this time? Did you all return to Lake Stoic?" "Never mind all that, Grandad. Where's the frozen flame? Give us a clue. Anything. Come out with it." I couldn't decide if Kid sounded more annoyed or more desperate. "The frozen flame?" The old man looked momentarily confused. And then a wan smile crossed his face. My word, Lady Riddle, it has been far too long since I last had the pleasure. Why, you need only turn the third candlestick from the left as you enter the main hall. That will open the underground vault, as you know. Third candlestick from the left! Kid wrapped her arms around the old man and held him tight, and then in a trembling voice she whispered, I'm sorry. I promise we'll get it back. Ah, gah! The man recoiled in horror and then began to sob once more. I am to blame. It's all my fault. Forgive me, forgive me. Look, if you want to get out of here, now's your chance. But it was no use. He was too busy cowering and wailing to hear me. We're done here, Serge. We can't help him, and there's things we need to be doing. Thank you, I whispered to the old man, before following Kid and Magiel out the dungeon. After making our way to the dark corridor, we came across a branch of the path. So let us go towards the atrium. Now we gotta go down to the main hall. It's like we're on to something. Atrium. Alrighty, continue on. Path ahead? Damn it! I went the wrong way. Hey Riddle, we did the thing. Oh, nothing new. Take care. Yeah. Yeah, she just skips the whole thing about the Iron Lancer because we've already done that. Took the passage to the left. Toward the atrium. Left passage. Main hall. Okay, I think it was what, the third candlestick to the left? Dozens of candles provided a dim flickering light, sending the corners of the room dancing in and out of shadow. What is it with like organs and like releasing heat, like steam? A silence unbroken save for the ticking of a large clock that slowly counted the passage of time as if waiting for something. Several portraits glared down at us with cold eyes. We moved with the feeble glow of the candles. Third candlestick from the left, whispered Kid. 1, 2, 3. There. She reached out towards it. I held my breath as I watched. Say your prayers, Lynx. We're coming for ya. Kid turned the candlestick. The room trembled with a sudden rhythmic rumbling sound, as if a massive gear was turning. What's that? For a moment I felt a strange sensation, as if I was floating. Do you feel that? I started to stagger. The entire room seems to be moving downward, came the reply from Magiel. I couldn't quite believe it, but I also couldn't deny the feeling of downward motion. The main hall was sinking into the earth. And then, another rumble. The room's descent rapidly accelerated. A cold sweat dripped from my back. My heart filled with a mixture of fear and anticipation. What was waiting for us down there? The frozen flame, our prize at the end of this little adventure. But what was it really? Would it live up to our expectations? I tightened my fists, which were slick with sweat. What were Kid and Magiel thinking? The room remained veiled in silence. As if in response to my thoughts, a quiet voice came from next to me. It was Kid. I looked over to see her standing stiffly, staring forward with her hands clenched into fists. Sometimes I feel like I'm stuck in a losing battle. A fight I'll never win, no matter what I do. It was a side of her I'd never witnessed before. Even from this angle, I could see fear and doubt flickering across her face. I felt a tender sting in my heart. Oh, it's not letting me save. Oh. What are you fighting? We'll win, I promise. There's nothing to worry about. We'll win in the end, I promise. Heh, Drongo. She gave a gentle smile. Can't promise anything in this world, Serge. There are no guarantees. But, thanks anyway. She grinned again, seeming a little embarrassed, then looked me straight in the eye. And then, I had the strangest sensation. This wasn't Kid. Or, not the only Kid, anyway. I was overwhelmed by the inexplicable oddness of the idea. She noticed immediately, of course, and our little moment was over. The Kid I knew was back in the room. Trying to catch flies, mate? Sorry. It's just that for a moment there, it felt like you were someone else. What are you on about? Kid gave me a confused look, tilting her head. It must be because we were drawing near to the frozen flame. Magiel's voice, as soft as ever, slipped unbidden from the shadows. What the heck are you two on about? Kid turned towards him with another puzzled frown. There was another self within you, struggling against the pull of the abyss. But what had she been talking about? A crash split the silence, as if we collided with something. Screech! Yeah, no, it's not letting me save. A loud metallic scraping filled the air. The room rocked and finally came to a halt. Looks like the end of the line. All charge. All change? All charge, you mean? The swelling grandeur of the organ suddenly filled the air. No one had so much as touched it, and yet the keys and pedals were moving by themselves. The melody it played was both unsettling and sad. Funeral tune, is it? Way to greet your guests! Kid took a long stride forward and then turned to face me and Magiel. Come on, let's go. Magiel and I gently nodded our assent. Kid grinned, then turned back to the door. I'm coming for you, Lynx. This is the end for you. And with that, she led us from the hall. We continued down a long, dark corridor, the walls slick with condensation. The air was thick and heavy, as though ripe with the stench of death. Were we really getting close to Lynx's hidden vault at last? Was there any turning back now, for any of us? There was something strange about Kid that night. Magiel didn't seem to be his usual self either. To begin with, it was vanishingly rare for him to speak so much, let alone to show any kind of emotion. What happened to make them change like that? Unable to take the silence anymore, I decided to speak. I had to ask the question that had been on my mind all this time. Why do you want the frozen flame so badly? What is the frozen flame? Is the frozen flame really just a jewel? There was only silence in return. And then, when it seemed like no one would reply at all, Magiel spoke. His low voice echoed in the chamber. It is a sacred stone that cures all ills, heals all wounds, and grants eternal life. Or so some still believe. In truth, it is part of a tremendous rock that fell from the skies long, long ago. That rock was the source of a hitherto unknown power, with which mankind's hidden potential was unlocked. You could say it was humanity's dreams made manifest, but it is not always good to have one's dreams come true. Many were bewitched by that great power, some were led astray by it. It even led to a kingdom's ruin, a kingdom once prosperous, yet now little more than fragments and dust, its name lost to history. For a moment, I thought I heard a glint of pain and sadness in Magiel's voice, but maybe it was just my nerves. Wait, how do you know all this, Magiel? He said nothing. He only stared at me with his piercing dark eyes, and then continued onward in silence. For a while, only the sound of footsteps echoed in the corridor. Hi, Chronicle, how you doing? Welcome! And then, Kid gave a doubtful humph. Look, I don't know if all that stuff about the frozen flame is true or not. It's neither here or there to me. She raised a fist. We're here to settle the score with Lynx by nicking the thing. That's all I know. That's all I want to know. What had Lynx seen in the frozen flame? Why had it been worth risking so much for? We trudged on down the dark passageway, each of us alone with our thoughts. Concentrating on my footsteps lessened the burden of my worries somewhat, and I felt a renewed vigor, to a degree. Suddenly, Majil stopped in his tracks. Wait. Huh? Kid turned around, puzzled, and then a powerful light surged across the floor, and a ring-shaped sigil appeared. Damn it, a blood circle. Kid and Majil were at least quick enough to try and jump clear, but they weren't quite quick enough, and the three of us were trapped in a circle of blinding light. The sigil rotated left and right with us at the center, cutting off all routes of escape. Gah, we're trapped! The wall of heat and wind blew up around us, and swirling lines and spirals of light assailed us wherever we turned. Don't let the light mesmerize you. Cover your eyes, shouted Majil, raising a hand over his mask. Turn with the light, not against it. There has to be a way out. What? I barely even understand what's going on. Kid's elbow brushed against the wall of light surrounding us, sending sparks flying. Ugh. Be careful. Merely to touch it is more than enough to harm you. Stay well back. I slowly turned my body to follow the movements of the ring of light, looking for a gap to escape through. Right 3 times. 3 steps to the right. There, I see it. That's our way through. I found a gap in the wall of light and carefully walked through it. Kid, Majil, this way. We managed to get through the barrier unscathed, but we weren't out of the woods yet. There was still another wall of light swirling with a great wind in front of us. I slowly turned my body to follow the movements of the rings of light, looking for a gap to escape through. It's like left twice. 2 steps to the left. There, I see it. That's our way through. I found a gap in the wall of light and carefully walked through it. Kid, Majil, this way. We managed to get through the barrier unscathed, but we weren't out of the woods yet. Same line. So I turned my body towards the movement of light, looking for a gap to escape through. And then it's right twice. 2 steps to the right. There, I see it. That's our way through. Leading them out. Suddenly my body felt light. I staggered 2 or 3 steps forward. We were back in the deserted passageway we'd been walking down before the blood circle had appeared. The sigil had vanished from the floor and everything was silent, as if nothing had ever been amiss. And then I looked up. Looks like we finally made it, boys! Kid strolled up to the door with a wicked grin on her face. I cannot save. The true frozen flame awaits. Majil's eyes gave a glint from behind his mask, like glass catching moonlight in the darkness of night. Let's go. Kid reached for the handle. So this is the place, huh? Kid narrowed her eyes, straining to see our surroundings in the darkness. A vast pitch-black expanse surrounded us whichever way we looked. It was as if we'd entered an impossibly vast cave. We were in a place forgotten by time, unknown to the world, hidden deep within the bowels of night. A gentle crimson light hovered in the darkness. The frozen flame. All right, now it's ours. The light of the flame ebbed and waned gently, as if responding to Kid's voice. What the heck is this place? There's mountains of bloody rubble everywhere. Majil took a step forward into the room and said in a whisper, as if almost a groan, No, it can't be. Ah, but it is. The ruins of the lost kingdom of mages. The voice drifted down through the darkness from above. Kid looked up in shock. Lynx. I'll kick your flea-bitten arse so hard you'll kiss the moon. Kid pulled her knife from her belt and threw it as hard as she could. It fell to the floor with a clang, as if knocked out of the air by some unseen hand. Still the same impetuous child as ever, I see. That's no way to greet an old friend. Smarmy bastard! Kid gritted her teeth with rage. And you, Shadow Dweller, I'll have none of your tricks this time. You must think me a fool if you believe I'll fall for that again. Magiel, who had been quietly slipping into the darkness that surrounded us, stopped dead in his tracks. So this was the infamous Lynx. The lord of this deadly manor, the man who had murdered the closest thing Kid had to a family, who had assassinated General Viper and eradicated the Order of the Acacia Dragoons. A pleasure as always, my dear Kid. And I must say, you followed the trail of breadcrumbs I laid for you admirably closely, my greedy, sneaky little thief. What the bloody? She stepped forward, bristling. Link narrowed his eyes as his lips twisted into a snarl. You know what I want, Kid. Give me the stone you carry. Stone? Did Kid have some kind of jewel I didn't know about? Peh! Don't know what you're on about, mate. She just about managed to recover her composure, narrowing her eyes scornfully at her old foe. Spare me the act, child. I know that you have it. I know she gave it to you. Hand over the time egg. Now. The what? Wherever it was, I'd never heard of it. You're dreaming if you think I'll give it to the likes of you, Kid shot back. That's all I have left of her. I'll never let go of it. Not for anyone, and definitely not for you. I'll tell you what's going to happen, you bastard. First, I'm going to take the frozen flame, and then I'm going to ram it down your throat. Incorrigible young fool. I was hoping this might be a civilized exchange. Alas, it seems my words will only fall on deaf ears, and you are determined to repeat your past errors. Lynx moved his hand to the grip of the ornate golden saber that hung from his belt. Last time I showed you mercy and let you leave with your life. That was a mistake. Excuse me. One I mean to correct. Serge, Magiel, stay back. Kid took a step forward, glaring at Lynx, her gaze unflinching. This ends here and now. You'll pay for what you've done. You'll pay for what you did to Luca. With a scream, Kid leapt into the air like a bird taking flight. Her foot lashed out in a scything kick? Aimed right at the side of Lynx's head. But there was no contact. Where Lynx had been mere moments before, now there was only empty space. Whew. Kid landed and immediately launched herself back into the air, pulling the full force of her momentum into another kick. This time, Lynx leaned back, letting Kid's foot swing past only a hair's breadth from his nose. And then it was Lynx's turn. He lashed out with his saber, carving an arc through the air in front of him. Kid was ready for him, however, and had already jumped back to a safe distance. The two glared at each other from mere footsteps apart. At least you have the decency to prepare a little better than last time, Lynx purred. A red line appeared on Kid's cheek, slowly coalescing into a drop of blood. Kid! In a flash, she launched herself yet into another attack. Lynx dodged to the side, then made her strike with the hilt of his saber. Kid moved awkwardly to avoid the attack, losing her footing. And then Lynx was on her like a bird of prey before she could fully recover. There was a gasp and a cough as Lynx drove his knee into the pit of her stomach. Kid collapsed. A steady stream of red dripped from her lips. Will that be all, girl? Lynx gave Kid a merciless kick to the side, sending her flying. She landed on a pile of rubble, her body rolling until she hit. Good, excuse me! A large stone pillar, and there she lay, lifelessly still. Kid? Kid! I screamed her name as I charged towards Lynx, but Magiel was there already. He flew through the darkness, a part of the shadows, before crashing down on Lynx like a bolt from the blue. Lynx jumped back, and countless threads of light flew from his fingertips toward Magiel. With a droning hum, the threads of light surrounded Magiel, crossing over one another. They spread to form a lattice of light that gave off a blinding glare and trapped Magiel where he stood. What is this? Magiel staggered and groaned, attempting to shield his eyes with his hands. It is a simple enough spell, my shadowy friend, for those inclined to learn it, and one which, sadly for you, leaves no darkness in which to hide. Lynx leered at Magiel with a venomous grin. You've been quite the thorn in my side. I'll let you live long enough to regret it. Magiel struggled and groaned. I had to do something. Kid and Magiel needed me. But what was I going to do? I challenged Lynx, I run to Magiel, I run to Kid. Ah, fuck. Lynx had started making his way over to Kid while I was paralyzed with indecision. What's the matter, Kid? You were so bold only a moment ago. Weren't you going to keep me entertained? Lynx looked down his nose at Kid's broken body. Now, do you want to give me the time egg? We can still be civilized about this. I am, of course, a gentleman, and it pains me to have to seize a fair maiden's valuables by force, even if the fair maiden in question is, in fact, a filthy street rat. He pressed a foot to Kid's head. I could hear her voice, faint and breathless. It's Lucas' stone, not yours. I'll never give it to anyone, and no way will I give it to the likes of you. I couldn't let him get any closer to her, but what was I going to do? I ran to Kid. Kid! I ran over to where she lay. She was flat out, still collapsed where she had fallen, and blood still ran from her mouth. Kid, say something! I crouched down next to her, glancing at her face in a panic. She groaned, and then she began to stir, her face twisted with pain. Sag. It's okay, Kid, I'm here. How touching, although I would be more concerned about my own well-being if I were you. The voice came from behind me. It felt as if ice water had been poured down my neck. I jumped to my feet and turned around. Lynx was looking down at me with a cold, emotionless stare. Any friends of Kid's is certainly no friend of mine. Forgive me, but I cannot permit you to leave this place alive. Before I realized it, his hand had shot out toward me. His claw-like fingers clamped around my throat. I couldn't breathe. Tightening his grip, Lynx lifted me bodily. Okay, until my feet were dangling in the air. I could feel his talons mercilessly digging deeper and deeper into my neck. Panic filled my mind. Look, Kid, see your friend? See him suffer? This is your doing. This is your hand around his neck.
Who the fuck is that guy?
It's Lynx. Kid's breathing was ragged, and blood still dripped from her lips. Opening an eye, she groggily raised her hand. But she couldn't get up. She didn't have the strength. Sag, give me the time egg. Do you even know what it is? I suspect not. Think of it as a concentrated pocket of space. With the frozen flame and the time egg in hand, one can bend the fabric of space and time and rewrite the past. There are errors that I mean to correct. Mistakes in the past that must be set right. Lynx's narrow and motionless eyes returned to my face. How long before he perishes, I wonder? I struggled to breathe, but I could only make choking sounds. Kid screamed my name. Decide, will you watch the boy die or relent? Does his life mean nothing to you? I can't. She balled her hands into fists and dropped her gaze. My vision started to fade. And then I heard her voice as she struggled to speak through the pain. I'm sorry, Serge, but I swore. I swore I'd sacrifice anything to stop Lynx. Don't worry about me. That was all I could do to force the words out past Lynx's icy grip. I was starting to black out. Was this really how it was going to end? Ah, for crying out loud, fine, you win. Here, have your damn rock. Lynx's grip on my throat loosened. Groaning with pain, Kid reached a shaky hand into her shirt. I knew you would come around in the end. Lynx threw my body to the ground, then walked over towards her. Just shut up and take it, you bastard. It's all you deserve. With all the strength she could muster, Kid lashed out at Lynx with her right hand. Gah! He leapt back in a desperate attempt to evade the blow. It was too late. Kid's nails, sharp as cat's claws, raked mercilessly into his face. Lynx roared with pain. He staggered, clutching his left eye. Blood oozed from the gaps in his fingers. You wretched little chit of a girl. Lynx stood awkwardly, still clutching at the wound on his face. The fingers of his free hand arched into furious talons as he walked back towards Kid, who still lay on the ground. I will kill you all. He kicked her hard, concentrating all his wrath and venom into the blow. Kid gasped as all the wind was knocked out of her. Yet more blood ran from her mouth as her body rolled across the floor. Kid, I yelled hoarsely, clutching my burning throat with one hand. Lynx turned his head slowly to look at me, one eye fixing on me coldly as it came into view. He took a step toward me. Yes, perhaps it would be better to start with you. My dear kid, rest assured that your friend's death will be the most elaborate and painful one. You will truly know what it means to suffer, boy. I will put you through the same suffering as I did that Luca woman. Kid's body stirred with shock and horror. Her eyes slowly opened, fixing on Lynx. They were wild eyes, stained with the blood that poured from her brow. Gritting her teeth, she staggered to her feet. Let's see. Lynx, Lynx. And then an explosion of light burst forth from the frozen flame. Another light began to form from somewhere near Kid's chest, resonating with the light from the frozen flame. The twin lights intertwined, twirling slowly upward. And as it rose, a golden spiral spread. No, this can't be! Lynx stood motionless. Wow, I can't read. Transfixed by the spectacle. Was this the Time Egg's power? Kid screamed as a raging blaze of light engulfed her. I'll never let you do it again. I'll never let you steal from me again. Bathed in the glow, her body shook. Blood-red tears dripped from her eyes as they took on a distant look, and then she collapsed to the ground as if all the life had gone out of her. I heard a voice. It was quiet and still, like the evening. It has come to pass. Kid is retracing her lost memories back through time, back to the lost kingdom. It was through her power that the kingdom fell, that it was swallowed in an all-encompassing vortex of time. In her grief, she wished to disappear. Her past, her future, she wanted it all to sink into the void, to be lost in the seething whirl of time. She despised what she had done. She closed herself off from all that she saw and heard and cursed her very existence. But the stone wished for her to live. The hands of her clock were rewound, her memories unraveled. The stone gave her a chance to begin again. The stone had both the power and the will to bring all this about. Sinking through the sea of time, she drifted here, a mere babe, her memories a blank slate. The time egg shattered, its fragments raining down on the world, becoming shards of sorrow and anguish. The world around us drifted into pieces. It swallowed us, engulfed us. We were consumed, locked into the void. And then, a girl's scream echoed in the darkness. That voice, was that Kid? It sounded just like... No, this is all wrong. The black vortex, it surrounds us. No, stop. It's a dinosaur. It's a dinosaur. The dinosaur. Where am I? I've lost everything, and now I can but wonder. The world drifts and time is a blur. There is only an endless, unknowable sea. This is where time begins and ends. This is where all life finds peace. I see myself as a baby, crying next to my mother, an exhausted yet proud look upon her face. I see myself aged and wizened, waiting to succumb to death's embrace with a smile. I see countless incarnations of myself, walking time's intricate corridors as ghosts. This is a place where countless worlds overlap and infinite dreams play out. If only I could rest here for eternity. If only I could free myself from all my burdens and sleep here in the sea of dreams. But I hear it calling me. I hear the song. Kid, please. Can you hear me? Kid? Kid, say something. Kid, you've got to stay with me. Who's that? Who's calling me? Serge? Where am I? Kid? Kid, you're awake. I heard a song. It was beautiful. It was that song that Luca loved. Kid closed her eyes, and her face glowed with a warm smile. I'll never forget that song. Makes me want to cry whenever I hear it. I'm just glad you're back. It felt like I was losing you, like you were going somewhere far, far away. Before I knew it, I was humming the song for you. I don't know if I ever mentioned it, but I wrote it when I first started out as a musician. I knew you liked it, so I... Kid gave a gentle nod. It was you. You were the one who called me back. That was you calling me name. Thanks, Serge. It's okay. It's okay now. I'm back. Suddenly, she gasped with pain. Link's saber had plunged deep into her right shoulder. We were distracted. And towering over us was Lynx himself. I told you, kid. I told you I would kill you. She had no strength left to fight. What was I going to do? I threw myself over Kid's inert form. I had to protect her. Ha, you rushed needlessly to your grave, boy. Lynx glared coldly at me with his remaining eye. Alas, your time has come. He raised his saber high, preparing to strike. Enough. Stunned, we looked towards the intruder. There stood an old crone, her wizened features obscured by a heavy hood. How had she made it all the way down here? Lady Vera, and what have we done to bring Pori's Magister General running, I wonder, he growled. It's been far too long, Lord Lynx. A pity that I seem not to have caught you at your best. The crone met Lynx's mad stare head-on. I will take the frozen flame. After all, it seems you two have been quite unable to decide which of you should have it. She raised a hand, and armed soldiers poured into the room. Maggio left Kid to her feet. This seems like a good time to leave. Lynx snarled, "You'll regret this, witch." She kicked off from the floor, and his body rose into the air. Then he turned his venomous glare on us. And you, Kid, you'll pay for this with your life soon enough. You will never be safe from me. With that, he disappeared into a puff of smoke. The crone lingered for a moment, her eyes resting on us. Kid, if you wish to try to steal the frozen flame again, you are welcome to try any time you please. We'll be waiting. But you'll have to get out of here alive first. The soldiers drew their weapons and fell upon us. Darkness, heed my call. With Kid slumped against him, Maggio spread his arms and drew a sigil in the air. Hurry, Serge. This way. I grabbed onto him, and we plunged into blackness. Thanks to Magil's magic, we managed to escape the manor alive. But the lights of torches dotted the forest, and we could hear soldiers calling to one another. We stopped briefly in the darkness of the woods, and Kid leaned heavily on a tree, desperately trying to quiet her ragged breathing. It was a terrible wound she suffered, and it seemed to be taking its toll. Are you okay, Kid? Yeah, don't worry about me, mate. We're surrounded. It won't be long before they find us, said Magiel, his eyes cautiously scanning the area. Kid raised her head to look at me. It's me and Magiel they want. Get out of here, Serge. It's us they want, not you. What are you saying? I'm not leaving you here. Look at you can barely stand. It's nothing I can't handle. And besides, I've got Magiel with me. If they catch you with us, they won't go easy on you. But I remembered everything. I remembered another me, a me from a long, long time ago. Slowly, Kid averted her gaze, looking up at the night sky. I have to go. The stars reflected in her eyes, and suddenly she looked like nothing more than an ordinary young girl with a sad, distant expression on her face. Kid? Don't worry, Serge. I'm okay. We'll meet again. Kid smiled. We'll meet again. Somewhere. Someday. Some time. Promise. Her eyes closed gently. I didn't manage to nick the frozen flame in the end, and I lost the time egg too. The only thing I had left of Lucas. But it's okay. Everything's going to be okay. There's something inside me that shines brighter than any stupid jewel. The most important thing in the world. She opened her eyes again and fixed them on me. I could have lost myself in their depths forever. No one can take it from me. Not as long as I live. There was nothing else in the world I wanted but this. I doubted I'd ever want anything again. I only watched this moment. All the clocks in the world could have stopped right then and there for all I cared. And that was exactly what I wished for as I gazed at her. Goodbye, Saj. And thanks. She looked down, then turned away and disappeared into the darkness of the night. Would I ever see her again? Kid! Don't follow me, Saj. Please. Just don't. I strained to try and catch a glimpse of her as the last traces of her shadow vanished towards a place I might never reach again. No, Kid! I leapt to my feet, meaning to chase after her, but a shadow soon blocked my path. Magil? Without saying a word, he slowly shook his head. Behind the mask, I saw a sadness in his eyes. Then the shadow withdrew and melted into the darkness. Magil? Kid? Wait, don't leave me! I screamed into the night, but there was no reply. The black silence swallowed my cries. Kid! Kid! And so ends another tale. Perhaps one day I'll see Kid, Magil, and Riddle again. One day. Somewhere, in another time, in another world. Perhaps none of us will even realize it. But that's a story for another day. For now, I must put down my pen. I closed my grandfather's diary. And then, from downstairs, I heard my mother calling. Did you hear me? Your friend's here. Nimble footsteps charged up the stairs. The door flew open. In tumbled a young girl, a girl who seemed somehow familiar. Hey, Serge, it's a beautiful day for adventuring. I found a rundown old manor off the woods to the north. You want to go exploring? Come on, put that book down and let's get out there. And that was Radical Dreamers. That was Visual the novel.
What a cute story.
Yeah. I didn't... Last week I was playing it and I forgot to save. So that when I died I had to do everything all over again.
She sure did.
So... Story-wise, it's a little confusing, especially if you hadn't played Chrono Trigger. So imagine playing this. This is before Chrono Cross came out. Imagine playing Chrono Trigger and then hearing about this game.
Right.
And then you're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. Man.
And her hair's down. It's not in a braid anymore.
Is so pretty.
Oh yeah, no, for like, I think this is what was this? I think this was 1999 or 1997. I don't know. But like, really pretty little text adventure. It does, you can tell it didn't have that much of a budget, but it did well with what it had. And I think you have like options to explore places more than once. With Lynx's room, I did not explore the statue enough. And I guess fucking the statue fell in love with us or some shit because we really take its death really hard.
Yeah.
It's like a mind fuck of sorrow. And
That
it's
sounds
like,
about right.
in the brief time that you're playing it, the brief time that you have with like these characters, they're really cute. They have little bits of personality.
Yeah.
Like you see a little bit of Riddle, I completely forgot about the Goblin Guard. Like I have no idea how the hell I beat this game when I played it a long time ago, because I beat it. Like I got this, I don't know if there's multiple endings either, I think there's just the one ending.
Uncertain. Pretty cool though.
Oh. Finn.
Finn.
Finn. Okay, there's 7 endings.
Jesus fucking Christ.
We got the first one.
Nah, I'm good.
I didn't even know there was 7 endings. I couldn't remember. Holy crap, 7 endings.
A lot of replayability,
Yeah.
I guess.
1996. Yeah, this is 1996. Chrono Cross was 1999.
Huh. Neat.
Alrighty. Now that we've played through Chrono Cross, and we have played at least one playthrough and finished of Radical Dreamers, apparently we're supposed to get something.
What?
If we watch the credits. So, one moment. Let me, This is just the launcher. It's not gonna pick up the launcher though. Credits? Oh wait. Is it picking up the credits? Oh, no, I passed by it. Fucking. That's settings. Okay, I'll have to do it. Window, or? Okay, so this is the... It's supposed to get something if you look through the... go through the credits. Because, that was just something I heard that happens. Like, you have to, if you play both the games and then go through the credits, you get something additional through it. And yeah, you get a nice little picture of the frozen flame. Look at it.
Wow.
Look at all its little eyes.
Horrible.
That's, is this Irish? Probably. Nom, nom, nom. So how was your day so far, Anthony?
But alright. Trying to go to the DMV to do my license finally.
Hell yeah.
I scheduled it for today. Jake saw me schedule it for today. He scheduled this for today. Not only could we not find the emails on our phones when we got there, they couldn't find it in their system, and when we checked our emails again, they said it was for the 15th.
Oh.
So someone somewhere is full of shit.
Huh.
It sounded like that's once happened to Grant, he said. So they changed the day without telling him.
Uh-huh.
Which is scummy as fuck, honestly.
Yeah, huh.
I'm just starting a new playthrough of V Rising with super loot drop modifiers applied to it. Because, you know.
Huh.
I'm not waiting 20 minutes for 10 iron bars.
I'm amused at how apparently the credits are in a different window to the title screen.
Yeah. No idea. Yeah, it overlaps the launcher, but it's its own window. It like masks it. It's very weird. But I want to see what comes out like after it, if there even is
games
actually.
do that.
A little part of me is like, would I have loved to have seen Chrono Cross be like rebuilt from the ground up? Absolutely. But I knew it wasn't gonna happen.
Maybe one day. One day.
Has Chrono Trigger even been rebuilt from the ground up?
No.
No. So why would Chrono Cross?
I don't know. I like the dream.
I feel like if Chrono Trigger, it'll happen to Chrono Trigger before Chrono Cross.
Maybe.
Because Chrono Trigger was a lot better received.
Oh, most likely.
My only thing, and this is what like some people, it might be a hot take. If they do ever do something like that, I want them to just get all new art for Chrono Trigger.
I like Toriyama's art though. I thought the art style looked nice.
It's very, very hard for me to separate his art from Dragon Ball Z. I can't take it seriously.
Fair. I get that.
Like, I want it to have its own... Like, back then, I understood because, like, Square worked a lot with Akira Toriyama. He worked from freaking, what was it, Dragon Quest? And he still continues to work with Dragon Quest. Like, he created the slime, and that's, like, one of Square's, like, iconic mascot. I get it.
He's even in fucking Kirby.
I super duper get it. I just find it very, very hard to separate it from Dragon Ball Z at that point. I don't really like his art style on other things.
Also the change in medium from 2D to 3D, and unless they're putting Arc System Works on the visuals, Toriyama's art style doesn't translate well.
No.
Nah, you're right. It does not.
Yeah. It's very, very hard. Like, I'm gonna be real with you right here. And this is gonna be another hot take.
Yeah?
Toriyama kinda has a little bit of same face going on.
Yes. Like Chrono straight up does look like insert Saiyan here.
Like, his girls, that he has
That's
nice...
a pretty room temperate take.
Yeah, maybe it is. I just don't freaking know, man. Some people are really, like... Some people find really weird hills to die on. And, like, all his girls... He's got two girl faces. He's got nice girl and bad girl. He's got fucking your standard guy face. He's got your baby face. You've got your small joke character face. He can do several faces, but certain entities have a very limited selection. You could take any Chronos face and put on any DBZ character and it'd look almost identical. Exactly.
Yep. I can't pretend like that's not true. It's completely true.
I have to think of, for the time, that was alright. But nowadays, there's so many artists out there. There's so many beautiful styles that
He flat out looks like Super Saiyan Teen Gohan.
It's true.
Just a redhead.
Yep, looks like Tapion.
What I really enjoyed about Chrono Cross was that its art style, while not anything unique, it was your standard painterly anime style, it was still its own. And I think that it would fit Chrono Trigger. It will still have that anime flary charm, will still translate pretty well enough into 3D, and still be within the confines of, like, something that's already been established. They've already worked with this artist, you know? Things like that. If they ever built Chrono Trigger from the ground up,
Yet,
I'd hope that they would make that choice.
On my end, the idea of a remake always induces some anxiety.
Oh yeah.
Because there are so many ways they could fuck it up.
Oh yeah, of course. I just think that it'd be a very good opportunity to really, like, breathe some fresh air into the series.
Yet,
the time was near, the final battle awaited. There, alone in the shadows, the man lingered. His partners, a young man and a young woman, had already made their preparations. And were waiting for him at the place they had agreed upon. Their foe was a fearsome opponent indeed. Would the three of them be able to defeat him? There was only one way to find out. All the better. What fun is a battle whose outcome is all but certain? The man reached a hand to his mask. Silver and unembellished, save for a few subtle details. It had been many long years since he last revealed his face. Did he wear the mask to hide himself from others? Or did he wear it to hide from himself? Enough time has passed that not even he was sure anymore. But it didn't matter now. The end was coming. An end to everything. Soon his long days of wandering would be over. And so too would the girl's ill-fated, fleeting existence. How many years have passed? How many centuries? How much love and prayer? How much hatred and rancor? How much despair and resignation? Had slowly and silently fallen over him. Piling up like snow. On that fated day long, long ago, everything that he was had vanished. Faded away into nothingness. Without so much as a whimper. There was nothing he could have done to stop it. But one memory stayed with him. Even after everything else fell away. One unforgettable image. That kingdom of winds forever lost. Those blessed days in a paradise above the clouds. And that face, her gentle, bittersweet smile. Perhaps his time behind the mask was coming to an end. His icy gaze seemed to thaw for a moment. And then he sprang into action. the moonlight flashed across... I can't read. Across the mask's surface. His silvery hair flowed behind him, reaching out like the tail of a comet. The time has come, O fated star. The king has returned. And with that, he vanished into the darkness. Though a life may end, a story lives on. Not forever, perhaps, but what's eternity compared to this moment in time? Finn. The end.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I think that's it. I'm guessing that's something to do with Magil or did like Janice? Did Janice wear a mask?
No.
No?
Not that I remember.
Might have been. Interesting. Bravo. Well, I think that's the Radical Dreamers edition.
Yep.
I've never played Chrono Trigger, so I have no idea what truly happens in that. I don't know where it would be, don't know where that would go.
Somewhere, certainly.
I've thought about playing it, but I think it's still like I've thought about playing it. I had access to I had access to playing it a long time ago on that same bricked PSP. But never did. I think instead I ended up playing I think Dragon Quest 4 or 5. Let me see, one sec. Alrighty. But I think, since it's about an hour till Zelda, and I don't really know what to do until then, I think I'm going to wrap up stream here. It's been a little chill one. I at least wanted to finish that. I don't know what I'm gonna do next week. I played a bit of Chrono Trigger long ago, never finished it, but it was good. Yeah, that's I'm not sure how long the game is either. It's probably a good RPG size, but it's also like 90s, so probably very grindy.
Chrono Trigger?
Decently long. Quite good though.
Yeah.
Yeah. It depends on if you want to get. It depends on the ending you want, really. I mean, if you want to, or if you want to 100% it or find shit. You know, it depends.
Yeah, I'll think about it. It'd be probably good to get the big chunk of the story that and stuff. Yeah, I'm glad I enjoyed streaming today. Again, it was a really
It's
chill
around
one.
23 hours going at a reasonable pace.
Yeah.
Just about.
Nice chill little stream. In about an hour we'll be having Zelda. I'm just gonna look
Twice
really...
that if you want 100%.
Okay. Yep. And it's depends on who you ask. It's worth it. I think it's always worth going for it if you can. But
Yeah.
that's me.
Oh, I mean, I
If
heard
you can.
it's a classic for a reason. So
Yeah.
I'll consider playing it in the future. There are a good other little couple games in on the list, but I don't mind adding in another one. We'll see what happens. I think it's on Steam. Let me take a quick look at ye old Steam. Chrono Trigger. Yeah, Chrono Trigger. Why does it ask for me? Why do I have to put in my birth date?
Good question.
Yeah, it's weird. Content of the Chrono Trigger March 22, 2022 update. So this actually recently updated. Interesting.
What?
I don't. Apparently, it's just like a small update, patch notes. Let's see. Achievements have not already been unlocked to play the game. They can be unlocked by completing it again or by watching the relevant ending from the extras menu. Okay, I guess it was just like a bug issue.
Neat.
That's good. It's only $20, so I will probably purchase it. Again, what kind of kills me with Chrono Trigger is the style, the art style, but it's fine. I will definitely consider it, but I think for now, I'm going to wrap up stream. I hope you all have a wonderful night, day, whatever's going on. Tomorrow we'll be at Legends of Runeterra over at Jake's channel. And then Saturday, we will go back to our Final Fantasy movie nights because we're going to be starting Stormblood. That's going to be a lot of fun.
And hey, play Chrono Trigger to get a super sneaky 23-year-old preview of Pokemon Crimson's Professor.
What?
God damn it.
What?
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
You're welcome, Anthony.
Isn't it also DMS? Yeah, I think DMS is this week. So yeah, we'll also have DMS at Net19's place. Yeah, no, there's just a lot this week. But I think most of the people here already know about Nat19, so we don't have to always go too into that. But
What's that?
Goodbye, everybody.